Well, here we are at my simulator again, and right now we're flying a navigation leg from Cancun, Mexico to Panama City, Panama. We departed Cancun about 30 minutes ago, and we're on our way to Belize right now. And the aircraft that we're flying is this one that is really a pretty neat little aircraft. It's not even registered yet. It's a Brazilian Cirrus single-engine jet, kind of an economy jet. Holds about 5 people, or plus maybe a couple kids or a couple dogs, and cruises around 250. Landing speed is around 85. Takeoff about 90 to 100. So it's a real easy plane to fly and not get too far ahead of, or too far behind, I should say. At any rate, this is just the view of the airplane. I'm going to go back to the cockpit and kind of show you what we're doing. Okay, right now we're at 8,000 feet and we're off on the 204 radial off of Cancun and heading to Belize. We're doing about 254 knots, got plenty of gas, etc. And this is what we use to navigate. These are the instruments. Over here is the course that I'm flying. Here's the 112.5 is the frequency of the VOR that I'm tracking out on. And that's indicated by the fact that that green arrow is lined up with a heading of 204 at the top. And where this information came from is from the other screen, where I set up my navigation flight plan. And as you can see, it started up there at Cancun, Cozumel, and we're right now about halfway between Cozumel and Belize. And this tells me the frequencies of the radios that I've got to transmit the heading and the distance between the various VORs. And there's a little log here that lets me just follow it. I can move this up and down as I get to a point. I can just, for right now we're going between Cancun and Cozumel and Belize, so I'll just put it like this, which means that this is where we are. We're heading 204 to Belize, and as we make these steps, I can just scroll those down. At the same time, on my iPad, which is right here, you can see the path of the aircraft. And up here was Cancun, Cozumel, and now we're halfway between there and Belize, which is down at the bottom. And I can scroll this to make it bigger or smaller or whatever I want, or move it and zoom in, etc. Same thing goes for my flight plan here. For instance, I'm just showing you the first couple legs. If you want to see the whole flight, I'll just zoom out a little bit. And there you can see exactly where we're going. The magenta line represents Cancun up at the top of the peninsula, and down at the bottom there is Panama City, Panama. And I'll just expand this as I need to between each leg to see exactly what headings I have to be on and what the distances are, etc., etc. So it's really pretty fancy stuff. And the control yoke that I've got is a pretty neat little yoke. It's got a lot of buttons that you can program to do anything you want. Up here are the throttles and what would be prop and mixture if I had a reciprocal aircraft, but as a jet, all I need is the throttle, so I'm just not using those other two. And the buttons here on the control panel, that's for trim. There's another button behind there for my brakes. Over here is where I set my autopilot to various headings, etc. And if I needed to, I could switch to a joystick if I was flying a more high-performance airplane, and I could use that instead of the control panel. And of course I set my frequencies using the keyboard and the mouse to move things on the screen. See, I'm using the mouse here, and that's where I can set the various views of my navigation equipment or my iPad tracking device. And that iPad is not even hooked to anything. It's just getting that directly over the Wi-Fi. The simulator transmits the current latitude and longitude of the airplane, and then this map, which is a Google map, and it covers the whole world. This map plots the airplane with movement. You can probably see that plane moving pretty slow right now because the map is so big, but it's tracking down the coast on the way to Belize. So this is really, you know, it's obviously a toy, but it flies fairly well. It's a little bit sensitive. In fact, you'll see sometimes when you're tracking the VORs, the plane will just kind of back and forth, search for the course, and keep it pretty much centered, but it'll yaw a little bit and pitch a little bit, and also roll a little bit, seeking that course line. Okay, that's pretty much a summary of what a navigation log looks like. By the way, I've got different airplanes. These are the planes that I flew in the Air Force. I've got several of these programmed into the computer if I want to fly them. I can fly that C-124, the B-47, the C-133, and I guess that's all I've got programmed in. But there are more models coming out all the time, and I'm looking for a C-5, which is the last plane I flew, because I'd like to kind of put that on my simulator. It's one of the few I might remember what's in the cockpit, since I haven't really flown since 1974, I guess it was. It's amazing how bad my cross-check has become. I find myself sometimes sitting here, and I'll take a sneak over to watch the television, maybe if the Olympics are on, and I look back and all of a sudden I realize that I missed my heading, or I missed a turn, or because when I was in the Air Force, you have an automatic acuity to track your instruments unknowingly to yourself. You just subconsciously scan the instruments all the time so you can catch any changes. But I'm so rusty that I have to kind of concentrate. Plus, it really isn't realistic. I mean, I get up, take a walk to the bathroom, or go get a cup of coffee sometimes on the long legs. So anyway, the only difference between men and boys is the price of their toys, and this is my toy right now that's kind of got me fascinated for the current time. I've even cut back on playing the banjo. So anyway, thought maybe y'all might be interested in this. If you don't have an interest, just don't look.